Show. If you're new here, Sawubona, Dumela, Bonjo, Khuyata, Abushe, Molweni, all our people. And if you're back here again, you know what the heat be. Yes, sir. As you guys know that it is August, and in August we celebrate women, you know what I'm saying? So here at the Thaba Nyaba Show, we make sure that we cater for that, you know. We have Bring Your Power to the Powerhouse. And today, guys, I am bringing in a phenomenal woman who is literally changing the lives of other women, who is empowering the lives of other women, you know, by simply just directing the success to the ladies. I bring to you Nomndeni Mdakhi, guys. That is the heat that's coming in today. She is a businesswoman, an impact entrepreneur, and a great speaker of notes. And actually, with that being said, she has been invited across the world to speak about the creative industry and the female entrepreneurial options that are in this continent. You know what I'm saying? She is the co-founder of Fuse Academy, with DJ Zintle being her partner. She's the founder of edX Communications. She also created the platform called Agenda Women, which is made for women to learn and connect with each other, you know what I'm saying? So that they grow together, they do this thing together, you know? But without any further ado, wait a minute, I almost forgot. In the midst of all of this greatness and this busyness and this wonderful work that she's doing, she is also a mother of 2 kids. Speak about a superwoman, guys. But yes, guys, that is the power I am bringing in today. But without any further ado, you know, let's get into this interview.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? I'm awesome. I'm very good.
That's good, man. I'm also good too. Anyways, we know that you are a businesswoman, you know, a great speaker of note. But actually, like, can you tell us, who are you? Who is Nomndeni Mdakhi?
Passionate about women, you know, and the economic emancipation and independence of women more than anything else. And that's where I've dedicated my time and work.
What inspired you to actually go, like, share your passion towards women? What evoked that spark in you?
You know, so it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think, you know, my first business was actually a DJing school for girls, which I owned with a friend of mine, who DJ Zintle.
Yes.
And at the time, I didn't recognize that maybe I had a passion for women and young girls, but it was so fulfilling running that academy at the time that we were running it. And the reason that I ended up not being so involved in the academy is that I saw an opportunity to start an agency, which I did in 2011. But over the years, I guess between 2011 to 2016, I'd always had this, even when I always hired a woman, you know.
Women.
I loved the idea of teaching women, giving them opportunity, bringing them in my space so that they could learn and grow. And whilst I was running that agency, I started having a conversation with a close friend of mine around the future of agencies. And I mean, as a young kid, I remember just dreaming about owning like a magazine, or maybe, you know, running a magazine at like Varsity, you know, when you watch those movies and there's like the group that puts together magazines and stories. And it's so funny, I actually thought about it much recently, that when I think about what I'm building with Agenda Women and how we're doing it, it lends itself to that space where, yes, our content is focused on women, which ticks the box for me, where I get to help women learn and grow, but it also ticks the box where I can use my creative energy and put it behind something that is meaningful and impactful. So it just became a collision of all the things that I care about. And I guess it's divine timing, because the experience really started from a personal encounter where I just started thinking about the difference that millennial women have from the generation before us. You know, there's so much that has changed in how women are perceived, in how we want to live our lives. And I wanted to create a space where women could be free to have those conversations, and also share experiences, because I don't think there's anything as powerful as hearing someone tell their story and it reflects on your own personal story. So I can't say that it was something that I'd always known that I'm passionate about, but as you go along in life, you recognize that actually I like this and I'd like to figure out how to make it the thing that I basically live for.
All right, that's very interesting. It's like one of those things that you're not well, or it's like subconscious, basically, you're not aware of it. But then as soon as you start picking up, like, how I hire women, oh, I like working with women, and then it's just like, man, this woman thing is actually in me, and then you sort of made your passion, you made your passion your work. So
Yeah.
I truly respect that. So what would you say is a key lesson that we should actually teach our young girls from a very young age that is actually missed?
Yeah, I think at the center of Agenda Woman, our purpose, we say, is to give women the confidence to own their future. I think we need to be intentional about giving women confidence, young girls confidence, and being clear about where are the spaces that we need to put young girls in so that they become confident. What are the things that we need to surround them with? What are the conversations we need to be having with them? One of the things that I've started to do for my daughter is expose her to doctors who are young Black women. Like, I'm taking her to a dentist yesterday who was a young Black woman. I'm going to be taking her to a gynecologist who is a young Black woman. I want her to see herself reflected in success. I don't want success to look like a foreign concept that is not attainable for her. I want it to be as real as possible. So I think exposing young girls as early as possible to successful Black women is going to change the way that they see themselves. And also, there must be a variety. It can't always be in just the entertainment industry. In the small things, they can't just see Black women as waiters at the restaurant when they go and eat. They need to see Black women in politics. They need to see Black women as CEOs. They need to see Black women as doctors and all of those professions, so that it is attainable for them and it gives them the confidence to start dreaming big. So I think for young girls, we really need to be intentional about what we expose them to at a very, very young age. Also with conversations as well.
Okay, true. And exposure is key, because it's an image that is actually painted in your mind that you're actually not well aware of until you actually like, yo, why is it only Black waiters that I'm exposed to, So is this the only thing that I can possibly do? So big ups to you actually noticing that and pointing your daughters the right direction from a young age. And I think a lot of parents can actually learn from that success is a Black woman's thing. You can attain it, you can live it, you can do it, and painting that image painting that image to a kid at a very young age is very important.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so as a businesswoman, right? What would you say are the challenges that you face behind closed doors that people don't see? Because I feel like people are so quick to say that, yo, I want to have my own business. Yo, I want to be the CEO of my own company, but they don't really know the work that actually happens and the trouble that goes on behind closed doors.
I think whether you are a business woman, whether you choose to climb the corporate ladder, there are challenges everywhere. There is the idea that if I leave my job and I start my own business, well, I'll manage my time and I'll do this. There is this romanticized idea of working for yourself, which is, I think, the reason that a lot of people fail when they start businesses. It's as difficult as it is when you're working for someone. The main thing is to understand why you think entrepreneurship is the space where you can be most impactful, or that is maybe more aligned with your personality. But challenges are everywhere, The thing about it is, I always say to people, when you work for someone, yes, there is a level of security. Yes, there is a level of insecurity as well, because you don't know if you're going to get retrenched. You don't know if you're going to lose your job and all of that. But every end of the month, you are guaranteed a check. The thing with entrepreneurship is every single day you have to work to make sure that there's a check at the end of the month. And I don't think people understand how difficult that is, and it's not only your check. Sometimes when you start employing, it's other people's paychecks as well, which means you start taking on the responsibility of families, one of the things that I learned much later in entrepreneurship is that, you know, the reason that a CEO is the most paid person in an organization is not because they have the smartest ideas around what needs to be done, but it's because the responsibility of the organization running effectively sits with them. So when you're an entrepreneur, you carry that same responsibility. From legislation, you need to understand what the law requires of you, to tax implications, you need to understand how to manage money well. So really, the difficult aspects of being an entrepreneur are running a business. A lot of us go into entrepreneurship because we have great ideas and we're creatives, but we don't spend the time to really understand the responsibility of running a business. And it is a huge responsibility. It is still daunting to me to this day. You know, I still don't think I'm getting it right. I'm always scared I might get arrested for something I might not know. That's what entrepreneurship is, you know. It's not a game. It's not just getting an interview, doing a profile shoot, and being on a cover of a magazine. There's so much more responsibility that comes with being an entrepreneur that sometimes you don't have when you are an employee, you know. So it's the responsibility that you carry to understand the business 360. The best example I can make is, you know, someone said, if you are a CEO of a company that makes milk, for instance, you're not in the factory where the milk is made, but should there be a consumer that dies because there was something in milk that was not taken care of at the factory, you are going to jail as the CEO. It's not the factory person that's going to jail. So that's entrepreneurship. It's understanding that the bigger your business grows, the bigger the responsibility, because there are aspects of your business that you won't touch. So that's the depth of entrepreneurship that I think is often not spoken about.
True. So in what you're saying is that there's a lot of accountability as an entrepreneur, right? And before you, it's not only just about the idea you have or the problems you may solve, but it's actually knowing why you have the business. And I feel like knowing why in anything that you do keeps you going when times are rough. You know, so I truly understand like the meaning of entrepreneurship, because I feel like it's just like, no, I thought it was just, no, have my own business, you know, it's just fun and games, I own my own thing, you know, but it's not understanding that the accountability that comes with owning that, you know. As you said, if someone dies because of the product that she produced, you as the owner of the company are the one that's going to be held accountable for whatever happens, even though you're not there when everything is happening, but it's your responsibility. And
Absolutely.
that is something that people need to know.
Mm.
All right, cool. So you have been a co-founder, right? You've worked with people. And what would you say is important when it comes to you being a co-worker?
I think the most important thing when you establish businesses with partners is to have clear roles and responsibilities, right? It must be very, very clear who is responsible for what. For the same reasons that I mentioned, you know, it must be very, we must know who is accountable for what, you know. I think a lot of times when people go into business and they have partnerships, it just becomes a thing of, oh, we get along and we have fun when we work with each other, or we like spending time with each other. But there's so much more that goes into finding a co-founder for a business. A lot of times when you look for venture capital funding in the States, they don't normally fund people who own their businesses alone, because a lot of the times it's very difficult to find someone who understands the creative aspects of the idea and has the ability to run a business. So sometimes you'll find that someone, for instance, I'll give you an example of a company called Squarespace, which is a platform where you can create your own websites. The guy who founded Squarespace was a developer, you know. It was a person who was good with tech, and they just felt like they wanted to create something that was beautiful and user-friendly. But he had no idea how to run a business. So when he started looking for funder and investor money, the funders kept saying, you need to get a person who has experience running a business. Your idea is great, your product is great, but we're worried who's going to run the business, you know? So it's very important to understand where you are strong and where you need someone who is strong in something else in order to find the right partnership. A lot of times also, it's a very difficult one, because I mean, how do you know how much you know and don't know when you've never even been in the space, you know?
Yes.
So it's very important to do the research, to call people, to ask people, you know, where do you think I'm strong? Where do you think I'm weak? Speak to other people who might have businesses that are successful, and let them know what your idea is. Let them know what you're wanting to build. Let them ask you questions. You know, I know with all the experience I have in business now that I can quickly tell where someone is strong and where someone is not strong by just having a conversation with them. So it's very important that you do the groundwork before you start bringing people on as partners. And this story of 50-50 for businesses, just because we started together, doesn't work. It doesn't work. There must be clarity around why do you own the percentage of the business that you own, you know? And do the homework. The more you ask, the more you share with people who are experienced, the more you're going to learn in the process as well.
All right, definitely. So it's just a matter of understanding your weak points and your strengths. But how do you go about it when, like, how do you figure out who's the right candidate? You know, because you get people who would want to just jump onto the idea because they see that this will take them far. So how do you differentiate that?
You need to have a backbone. You need to interview people. You're not just going to say you're my co-founder just because we're hangouts or we're friends. If you are deliberate about finding someone who's a co-founder, interview people. You know, once you recognize what it is that you're looking for, sit down and write a description, a job description for a co-founder. And the reason a lot of the times you would want to get a co-founder is maybe because you don't have the money to pay someone, right, to do the job. So you basically say, okay, I don't have money to pay you to do the job, but I can give you a piece of my business. This is what I project is going to be worth in 5 years if we get these things right. So it's a lot of work, and it's the kind of work that people don't want to do, you know? And it's the reason that the numbers look the way that they look when it comes to businesses that become successful and that are consistent and that are 100 years old, and businesses that are around for 5 years and then they die out. There is so much work that goes into making a business successful. You're not going to take someone and make them a co-founder just because they're a friend. If you can't convince, a lot of the times, this is what I've said, if you can't convince someone who's very good to leave their job and join you in your business, then you haven't done a great job at selling your business. You haven't done a great job at projecting how much your business can make, because the best people are normally not sitting around doing nothing. They are busy. Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone wants them. So you're going to need to do a hard job at making sure that you find someone who is good at what they do and who can bring it as much as you do for your business. And I mean, there's a lot of trial and error as well in business. So nothing is black and white, but you can at least do the due diligence to be as close to what you want as you possibly can.
True. Okay, so with that being said, I guess that also goes with brand building, right? Because you have to sell your product. But how do you go about, because I know that you also study marketing, right? So it's all about marketing. So how do you convince people that this is the actual product that is more than the others? Like, how do you convince them into buying into your idea?
You know, I think the thing about marketing is you firstly have to, so let's speak, for instance, about Agenda Woman, right? When someone looks at Agenda Woman, they could say, oh, another platform for women, oh, another conversation, oh, another this, another that. The reason that I ended up doing building Agenda Woman, despite all of those thoughts firstly landing with me before anyone said them, was because I was very clear about the value proposition. You need to be very clear about your value proposition. What is it about your business or your product that is unique and speaks to the needs that your consumer has? So you need to know who your consumer is. You need to have a document that basically lists who they are. It's Busi, who stays in Soweto, who travels to work, who pays this much when they travel to work. These are their challenges, and this is where my product fits in their life, right? And then how does Busi buy? You know, how does Busi's budget look like? That's what I always ask myself, especially when you're selling a product that is not a need. what does Boosie's budget potentially look like? You know, how much do they spend on beauty per month? How much do they spend on transport per month? How much do they spend on their kids per month? For instance, if you're selling a product that is targeted at kids, ask yourself those questions. Speak to people who potentially are the Boosies in your life, you know. Ask them how all of these things work in their lives. How do they make these decisions? A deep understanding of a consumer makes it easy for you to then go back to them to say, you know what, I know that this is what your life looks like. I know that this is what your needs look like. This is where my product fits in. A lot of the times you need to tell people where they're going to get the money in their own budget to pay for their product. So for instance, with Agenda Woman, we understand that it might not be a primary need for people, you know, to invest in conversations or our content, but we have to position it as a self-development, self-care aspect of who they are, and start to have the conversation with them around, if you really want to take your life to the next level, are you investing in it? Are you spending money in it? Where is that money coming from? Are you buying books monthly? Maybe buy a book this month, maybe next month spend on us. You know what I'm saying? You need to understand what your product is and how it fits into your consumer's life in order to be able to communicate with them very well around why they should be spending money with you and not with someone else.
All right, cool. So it's just a matter of really getting a deeper understanding of your clients, you know,
Yeah.
of your audience, you know, because I guess the service now comes in different ways. It's not really a product. Sometimes it comes in a service. As a gender woman, you offer a platform where women can connect, you know, so it's just a matter of convincing and selling the solution more than the product.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think I'm starting to get this business thing going on. You know, I'm starting to understand it. All right. So, okay. May you please share some pointers? Because I feel like being in the business space, you created networks, right? And personally, I'd say I'm I'm not quite sure. I'm not really understanding how to network and how to use them. You know, so may you please just share some pointers on how you do that?
So for me on networking, I play the long game. You know, I identify who I need in my life and I play the long game. You know, I make sure that I build the relationship. I make sure that I have something I offer them before I ask for anything a lot of the times. So you'll find in my network that there's people who are quite powerful, but I've never asked them for anything. You know, I get to know them, what they like, you know, and not just food or going out or anything like that. Really, how can I add value in their lives, you know? So if maybe the person who's in my network is the CEO of APSA, you know, I will go in and investigate what are APSA's needs, you know, what is APSA going through as a business, you know? How can I share insights and information? Where is she not? I'm on the ground. She's in the C-suite the entire day, every day. What can I share with her that's gonna make her do her job better? You know, what kind of questions can I ask her that will help me better understand what her job involves, you know? So this could be over dinner with friends. This could be someone who's in the same circles as me. I try to make sure that I build an authentic relationship with people. And another thing that's very key is I I tend to be drawn to people who I share the same values with. You know, shared values is important because that's when we're going to be able to help each other. We have to have an alignment in how we want to see the world and what our role is in making the world a better place. So for me, any woman who is pro women empowerment, who sits in a CEO level, I'll be able to have a conversation with them because we are aligned in the work that we're doing. You know, I might not ask them for anything, but maybe I'll ask, maybe the simple question can be, do you have mentors and how do you find mentorship? I'm not asking you to be my mentor, but do you have mentors and how do you find mentorship? You'll find that a lot of people want to be mentors, but they just don't have the time, you know? And I can then say, okay, you know what? I'll create a structure that will make it easy for you to mentor young girls. You know, we'll place it under Agenda Woman, and then we'll just make sure we facilitate everything. And you can come on for an hour and you'll just speak to a bunch of women. We'll give you data around how they have grown. You know, it's about what can you offer before you ask for anything and building authentic relationships. It's not walking into the room and going up to someone and saying, hi, can you be my mentor? it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and people like hanging out with people that they like, you know. So that whole concept of walking up to someone and saying, "Can you be my mentor?" I can tell you, I would never be able to say yes. I don't know you. I don't know if you're hardworking. Maybe you'll waste my time. There's just so many things that I would need to consider before I mentor anyone. So it is really about building an authentic relationship with a person, and mostly it should be people who you share the same values with. No matter how powerful a person is, if you don't share the same values, don't bring them into your network. It is important that you know what your values are so that you know who you need to bring into your network as well. It's not just about a person's power, it really is about shared value. You know, what can I give you and what can you give me? And that's the best advice I can give you around networking. Don't just make it about walking up to someone and saying, "Hey, how are you? This is, you know, who I am, and this is what I do." It's too much.
Yeah, and I think that's really true, because you get to understand the person, and you get to understand why they do certain things like this, and you have that connection, So, and I feel like with a mentor, it has to be not someone that, oh yeah, no, just do this, just do that. It has to be like a relationship, because they then understand where you need help, how can they help you, and what type of person you are, So
Yeah.
I get that. So, but like, since you also touched on mentors, and what would you say the importance of having a mentor is?
It's exactly some of the things that I explained at the beginning of our discussion, right? Sometimes you need someone who you can pick up the phone and ask, where do you think my strengths are? What can I be better at? This is what I'm trying to do. Have you been in this situation? How would you advise that I go about it? There's so much that you can get from a mentor on the basis of just the experience that they've had in a particular industry, in life, or in the workplace. I remember I have a friend in New York who told me about such an amazing exercise that his mentor gave him. And he said to me, my mentor made me do something that was really, really powerful. So his mentor said to him, write an article about yourself 20 years from now. What will the article say? Who will you be? What would you have achieved? What will they be talking about? So that you're very clear about the direction that you want to take in life, and you follow that story, the creation of that story. Because if you're not clear about that right now, then there's still a couple of things that we need to figure out in this mentorship relationship. So a mentor is someone who's much more experienced in life than you. There is also peer-to-peer mentorship, which is more about, maybe I'm in marketing, you are in finance, you can help me figure out my finances for my business. That's more peer-to-peer mentorship, So mentorship can go across, and it can be horizontal, it could also be vertical. So at any given point, you need to figure out what it is that you're looking for, and then try and build relationships that resolve that for you. But intention is at the center of everything that I do personally. As soon as I'm clear about what I want to achieve, it's much easier for me to then go out and have conversations with other people around how do I get there. But you can't go to people and expect them to give you direction around where you need to go when you don't know where you want to go.
Yeah, true. Definitely. Okay, that makes sense. You need a sense of direction. Once you know where you're going, you just go straight there. You don't take short left, short right. And I think I'm gonna try that exercise. Just writing an article about myself 20 years from now, of like what life I want to live. And I guess that will definitely help with the sense of direction and where I want to go and the people I'll need to involve in my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I also know that you're a great speaker of notes. You have been invited across the world to speak about the opportunities that the world has to offer for young females in the entrepreneurial space, right? So can you share a few opportunities that are actually out there for young girls like us?
This has been coming up a lot in the conversations that I've been having, and I always say, in the same way that when we had the evolution in South Africa from an apartheid state into post apartheid, and there was an evolution that needed to take place that looked at how do we get more Black people in senior positions, and how do we make sure that somehow economically, there is some kind of equality and fairness, which takes time because we're not there yet. they then implemented the policy, the BEE policy, which yes has worked for some people and hasn't worked for other people. That's policy. It needs to be observed, it needs to be watched over, and there's a lot of things that can happen along the way. I have been saying to a lot of young girls and a lot of women, there is no other way. We are going to get to a point where they are going to need women at the top. It might be difficult right now. There might be no structured intention around how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. The other day, someone even started a hashtag saying #Black Woman Get Ready. You know, it is really about, are you ready for that job that you want? Should the opportunity open up tomorrow, are you ready? Or are you going to be one of those people who's like, oh, they're always taking the same people? Because where are you? And if we call you into the room, are you going to be able to deliver? You know, are you ready for the opportunities when they land? There is no other direction that the world is going except the direction where women take up space, where women are needed in multiple organizations, in multiple industries. We just need to get ready. And whilst others are getting ready, others are fighting the fight. You know, there's so much going on in the women's space right now, all of it necessary. But for young people who want to thrive and who want to be successful, my advice is to just get ready, you know, so that when the call comes, you are not the reason that you didn't get the opportunity. You were ready for that opportunity. So for me, no matter what the industry is, no matter what the space is, there aren't enough Black women faces in a lot of important decision-making rooms. So we need to get ready for when the door opens. We need to be able to walk in and walk in boldly.
So the question is, are you ready? Definitely. Okay, I just had like a reflection of my life in front of my eyes. I'm like, so Vela, if someone had to be like, yo, Thaba, come present here, are you gonna be ready? And I'm just like, girl, I gotta be ready, man. You just have to be ready. So when it does happen, we are like literally full force, full attack, and all that. All right, cool.
Yeah,
So
I mean, for instance, I'm gonna make an example with even what you're doing, because a lot of times people discourage, you know, the stuff that you're doing. Maybe they won't come to an interview. Maybe you might get like 2 people viewing the interview or whatever the case might be. But this is you getting ready, right? Should someone say, I'm looking for a girl who can interview people or whatever the case might be, you need to be able to say, oh, can I get a chance? I've interviewed this person and that person, this is what it looks like. It doesn't matter how many people viewed the interview, right? You were able to sharpen your skill by continuously interviewing people, looking back at the videos and saying, I could have done that better. Let me do this better. This is the getting ready that I'm talking about, and not sitting and saying, oh, they're always hiring Bonang or they're always hiring whoever. If there's no space in media, mainstream media right now, you don't even know if they called you. Would you be able to do the job like Bonang? Do you know what I'm saying? She has had so many hours of training. So you need to put in your hours so that when the opportunity comes, whether it might even come from her and she says, I want to work with a young woman or whatever the case might be, this is the getting ready that I'm talking about. It's not sometimes about getting paid for whatever it is that you want to do. It's doing it regardless, because you know when the opportunity shows up, you will have something to bring to the table, you know?
all right. Like, I feel so motivated. Thank you so much. And it's like the second time someone says this to me, because I had an interview with Ayanda Mantombazane Mhlongo, right? Because I also have another creative talk chat. And basically what she was saying, like, don't stop, you know, just carry on, because you're practicing. And like when she started, she started writing blogs and only 2 or 3, 5 people would view it in 10 months, you know, but she didn't stop. It's just continuously progressing and you're sharpening your skills. So I wasn't well aware of that. Now I am. So thank you for that. You know, thank you.
You're welcome.
And yeah, so I guess this is like the end of the interview. You know, thank you for coming through. Are there any last words that you'd like to share?
I think for you, definitely it is the encouragement that I just shared with you now. Don't compare yourself to people who've been in the industry or doing what you're doing for years and years. Follow your path, you know, stick to your lane, do what you love, get better, you know, be better than you were yesterday. Don't be better than someone else. Be better than yourself yesterday. Be honest with yourself about the things that you can do better. Commit to doing the stuff that you're doing. and forgive yourself when you fail, because sometimes you'll fail yourself. Sometimes you won't do things the way that you want to do them. Forgive yourself, bounce back very quickly. For any level of success, to anyone who's listening to this interview, the key for me over the years I've recognized is resilience, because there is nothing as painful as failing at something that you love and all the doubts that comes with it. The most important thing is to be resilient and keep going. The people that started new things were not people who were excellent in those areas. When you look at Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, no one saw him coming, but he came anyway. You don't know. You could be the Mark Zuckerberg of your space. You need to just push in, push through, do what you have to do, and stay consistent and keep doing the work. We need innovative solutions to a lot of problems in the continent. It could be sitting with you and you're sitting comparing yourself to Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos and everyone else who's doing their own thing. The reason they're successful is because they came into the game and they did it the way that they understood how to do it the best way. So just keep going, keep learning, keep challenging yourself, and just keep getting better. That's the only way you're going to win at anything.
Thank you. Those words were actually directed at me and everybody else who's listening, so it's like I can just feel, when you feel like a little lump, like it's just like, so thank you for that. So I feel like I really need to just do reflection, and just focus on what I'm doing, because sometimes you do get sidetracked. It's human nature, sometimes you're just like, but it's just staying focused, and then that's one thing I personally need to learn, So yes, thank you so much once again.
I'll give you a link to a Strengths Finder, which is a platform where you can go in and fill in a couple of questions. And from that, it will be able to tell you where you are strong and where you are weak, right? And it will give you like 10 points. So it will say, for these 5, this is where you can stand on your own. For these 5, you need to find someone who is good at this. I think it gives about 20, because there should be about 4 blocks. So that Strengths Finder really helped me to better understand how to position myself, even within the business space. For me, I'm happy to have been able to support you wherever you are in your journey. I don't know where you are, and wherever else you need support, we're here. We'll help wherever we can.
Thank you so much. And also for the people watching, go get that. I'll put it actually in the description box down below after I get the link, so that they can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you for all your wise words of wisdom, and may God just bless you and bless your Agenda Women. That is a really great platform.
You're more than welcome, and you have a great day further.
Thank you, you too. All right, bye.
Bye.
And yes, sir, that is it, guys. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this beautiful show. But thank you to Nomndeni Mdakhi for joining us and sharing her wise words of wisdom, guys. So make sure that you guys are ready, so that when the opportunity comes through, you are ready to just take it and go. You know what I'm saying? But yes, guys, this is the Thaba Nyaba show. We are definitely here to entertain you and to empower you. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you catch us again right here at the Thaba Nyaba show next week. Not same time, but same vibes, same heat, same yogi. Don't you feel me? But from me,